Have you ever Googled something and wondered, how did that website get to the top? Well, today we're pulling back the curtain on search engine optimization, or SEO. We're going to break down Google's very own starter guide into simple, doable steps you can actually use.
So here's our game plan. First, we'll cover what SEO even is. Then, we'll dive into how Google actually finds your site in the first place, how to organize it so it makes sense, and, this is a big one, how to create content people genuinely want to read. After that, we'll polish things up so you look great in search results. And finally, we'll bust some common myths and set you up with your next steps.
All right, first things first, let's lay the groundwork here. We're going to get to the heart of what SEO is really all about so you can focus on what actually moves the needle.
So, what's the deal with SEO really? It's not some kind of secret code or dark art. Honestly, the best way to think about it is like a friendly handshake between your website and Google. You're just making it easier for them to understand what you're all about, and in return, they help people who need you find you. It's a win-win. And let's get one thing straight, right from the horse's mouth. Google is super upfront about this. There is no magic button, no secret trick that's going to guarantee you that #1 spot. It's all about applying good practices, consistently.
So the big question, how long does all this take? Well, you're going to need a little patience. SEO is definitely a marathon, not a sprint. Sure, some tiny changes might show up in a few hours, but you really want to wait a few weeks to see the initial impact. And for the bigger stuff, yeah, that can take months.
Okay, now let's get into the nitty-gritty. Before anyone can fall in love with your amazing website, Google has to be able to find it. This whole next part is about making sure you're on the map.
You know, this slide does a great job of making a huge, complex process seem simple. Just picture Google having these little digital librarians. They're called crawlers that are constantly exploring the web, looking for new books, your web pages, to add to their giant library. That library is called the index. Then when you do a search, they just pull the most relevant book off the shelf just for you.
So that leads to the very first, most fundamental question you have to ask yourself, is your site even in Google's library?
And guess what? You can find out right now. Just pop over to Google and type site and then your website's address. If you see your pages pop up, hey, congratulations, Google knows you exist. If not, don't sweat it. This is just your starting point.
Okay, so Google has found you. What now? Well, think of your website like a physical store. The layout is everything, right? You want it to be super easy for both customers and, your own staff to find things. The exact same principle applies to your website.
And this shows such a simple but powerful little trick. Just look at the difference. A URL with clear descriptive words tells everyone, humans and Google, what the page is about before they even click. That other one, that jumble of numbers and letters, yeah, not so helpful, is it?
So the guide suggests some pretty basic housekeeping, like grouping similar content into folders, just like you would on your computer. But, and this is really important, don't stress out about it too much. Google is pretty darn smart these days and can usually figure things out on its own.
All right, lean in for this one. This is the main event. If you take away just one thing from this entire explainer, please make it this. According to Google itself, this is the single most important factor for your website success.
And there it is. That's the real secret to SEO. It isn't some technical hack. It is all about creating high-quality, genuinely useful content that your audience actually wants and needs. Everything else we're talking about is just a bonus.
So what does that actually mean in practice? Well, it means writing naturally, using clear headings. It means creating original stuff, not just rehashing what everyone else is saying. It means keeping your information fresh and up to date. But most of all, it's about being helpful, being reliable, and building trust with your readers.
So, you've created some absolutely fantastic content. Awesome. Now let's make sure it looks great when it shows up in the search results so you can earn that click. This is your digital first impression.
When you look at a search result, you're really just seeing two key things, that blue clickable title and the little description underneath it. And the best part is, you have a say in what both of those look like.
Think of your page title like the title of a chapter in a book. It needs to be clear, accurate, and to the point. And that little description, the meta description, that's like the blurb on the back of the book. It's your chance to tell people why they should bother opening it up.
All right, let's save you a ton of time and frustration. We're going to quickly bust some of the most common SEO myths out there so you can focus on what actually works. Then, we'll give you a clear path forward. First up, keyword stuffing. The short version is just don't do it. Seriously, repeating the same words over and over and over again is annoying for your visitors, and it's flat out against Google's rules.
Next up is the Meta Keywords tag. This is a real blast from the past, like from the early days of the internet. Google has not used this for ranking in years, so don't waste a single second on it.
And finally, the myth of the magic word count. Guess what? It doesn't exist. A short, incredibly helpful article will always be better than a long, rambling one that doesn't get to the point. Focus on being helpful, not hitting some arbitrary word count.
So where do you go from here? Here are 3 concrete actions to get you started on your SEO journey. First, set up a free Google Search Console account. It's an amazing tool for tracking your progress. Second, just commit to learning and making SEO a regular part of maintaining your site. And third, start exploring ways to make your site stand out even more.
And that brings us right to our final question. I want you to forget about search engines for just a second and think only about your visitor. What is one small change you can make today to make your website just a little bit more helpful for them? Because at the end of the day, that's what this is all about, making the web a better place, one helpful page at a time. Now go for it.